Hello and welcome to The Money Honey. I'm your host, Rosalia Lazara, bringing you women in property, finance, and construction. There was no other podcast out there in this industry with the intermediary market and the lenders and the brokers that I hang around with every single day. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring women in finance together because when I was joining the industry, I definitely felt like I needed to be surrounded by women that I could aspire to and learn from in a world full of men, as this industry is often described as, but it isn't the case. So I wanted to show women in the industry or women from the outside looking at the industry how many supportive and inspirational women there are in this industry. And I want to bring them together for you in one place. Today, I'm very, very, very excited to bring on a woman that I've literally just heard lots of good things about. Met her once at an event where we just had a couple of drinks, but we got kicked out because the event was over. So we barely even had time to speak. But when I saw her, I got this like sense. The only way I can describe it is that I got this like Queen Latifah feeling from her. Like, oh my gosh, I have just met the beautiful Alison Houghton-Corfield from MPF, so Master Private Finance, who I'd heard lots about. But today she's gonna share with me everything that she's doing and share with you everything that she's doing in the industry, not just in her business, but for the community. So let's bring her on. Hello, Alison.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you for making time, for actually taking time out of your day to be here, because obviously I know you've got a full-time job to do. But yeah, I just couldn't wait to talk to you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm loving the Queen Latifah vibe. I love that lady. Yeah, she's definitely got good things going on.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? I hope you took, yeah, you
I'm
obviously took
really
that well.
flattered, really flattered.
Yeah, no, you really have. You've got this massive energy about you. And I mean, look at you, you've turned up with like the red lippy, the red jumper, and just, but you still, I don't know, feel like, you know, like you, if you met Queen Latifah, I don't think you'd be scared of her. You'd be like, you just want to give her a hug and be like, thank you. You know, that's kind of that feeling. So tell the audience why I'm so excited to hear about you. So who are you? What do you do? And yeah, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, as you've already said, I'm Alison Houghton-Corfield. I'm the National Relationship Director for Master Private Finance, which is a master broker and master packager, and we deal in the specialist finance arena. A bit about me. On the 2nd of January 2023, so about 4 weeks off, I'll have been 25 years in the industry. So it's my silver anniversary in financial services at the start of next year. I started doing originally car finance, selling finance on cars with protection. And I found that I really, really enjoyed it. And unfortunately, the dealership went into liquidation, and the bank who had been funding those loans contacted me and said, we've got an opening, we'd like you to come and join us. So I said, yeah, that's fine. It's the middle of November, and I had a very small son at the time. I thought, could do with about 6 weeks off, get us over Christmas, I'll start in January. And they said, perfect, that's exactly what we was thinking. You enjoy your time off and come and start with us in January. And from then on in, I never really looked back. I always liked numbers, was always interested in money, loved doing figures, things like that. And then within about 6 months of being with Northwest Securities, NWS as it was called, they got a banking license and changed to Capital Bank. So that kind of opened up a whole host of other areas that we could look at. And then a couple of years later, they was taken over by Bank of Scotland. Okay, which again, it just kind of expanded the opportunities that were available to you. And then that became, they merged with Halifax, which became HBOS, and then it became Lloyds Banking Group. So that's where I cut my teeth. I'm a classically trained corporate sales manager. That's what I am. However, that does not work in today's world, which we will speak about a little later. So I've had to kind of use the best of those skills, unlearn some of those skills to deal with the industry as it is today. So after leaving Lloyds, I then joined the specialist lending market, which I got a phone call saying, "Are you in the market? I've got a job. It's got your name written all over it." And I said to the guy, well, what is it doing? He went to work in specialist finance. And I was like, no, not doing that. Got bad rep. Don't want to be associated with anything like that. No, it's not for me. And he just said, come along, let's have a coffee, let's have a chat, and I explain what the job is to you. And I thought, yeah, this has changed. This industry's definitely changed. My perception of the specialist industry changed. I thought, I'm going to give this a crack. And I've absolutely never looked back, Rosalia. I'm all about relationships. I'm all about people. I love people. I love finding out, because the majority of the time they've always got a story. And that's what I find really, really interesting and really endearing. And I don't know what it is, but people tend to trust me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like when I meet you, I just feel like you're really profound, have lots of knowledge and experience, but still you remain really fun, and you adapt quite easily, which is what you need in this industry, isn't it? You don't go from corporate banking to specialist lending if you weren't adaptable, if you didn't adapt and change, your ways to embrace things, right?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely. So the good skills that I learned from corporate that I knew would fit in the specialist lending market, yeah, I brought them along. So that was transferable skills. And as you say, you learn all the time. And what I love about it is no 2 days are the same at all. So one day you could be dealing with somebody wanting £40,000 because they're having an extension. And the day after you could be dealing with somebody who wants £4 million because they want to build a development. And that is what I love about it. And you get that great bandwidth of all different types of clients, all different types of people. I love working with the brokers. The majority of the brokers that meet, and I would say probably 99.9% of them, they're lovely, lovely people. And sometimes you'll get the odd one who's got a gripe. And you know what? They're right to have a gripe, but let's fix it. That's what we do. We listen. We speak to you. We understand. I understand the broker world. I understand the pleasure and I understand the pain. And that is what I love about the job. And as I already said, people tend to trust me. They'll trust me to do business with me. They'll trust me to talk to me and tell me personal things when I go out into their businesses, when I go meet them. And yeah, I don't take myself too seriously. Yes, I follow the regulatory process because I have to, okay? And I can be really, really serious and professional when I have to be. Other than that, yeah, I'm just a normal human being. That's what I am. As is everybody else. Everybody's got their own struggles. Everybody's trying to do the right thing. I just want, when I've been with someone and I leave them, they go, oh, I really enjoyed that time with Alison. Yeah, I've learned this. I understood that. Yeah, I can definitely work with that person, because that's what it's about. Some people's days are very, very hectic and they can be very distracting. They can be very stressful. I do not want to be a stressor. I want to be the antidote to that stress. That's what I want.
Yes, you definitely bring that color, that energy, that enthusiasm with that you need in specialist finance, because actually opposite to you, I don't know if you actually know my side, but I actually started in specialist finance and I've never even done corporate or, high street lending. I've never done that side of things. I've always done the specialist side, the packaging. That was the world that I was introduced to, and I certainly had to bring the solutions very, very quickly. So yeah, I totally know exactly what kind of attitude or kind of mindset you need to have to navigate the specialist lending world with, brokers that need fast answers, quick solutions. Like that definitely is the case. But I want to move our conversation over to a lot more on what the show is about, right? So it's called The Money Honey, because we're all about empowering women who are not only in the industry, but perhaps are moving into it and they want to see what it's all about. Maybe people from the sidelines have a certain perception of financial services or property or construction, and there's still stereotypes. But I know you're looking to are changing that. You are changing lives from the little you have told me already coming onto the show. I want to hear the rest about what you're doing to empower these women in and coming into the industry.
Okay. Well, it's been a journey, as you can imagine. As I said, I've been in the industry almost 25 years. And the changes that I've seen, especially over the last few years, have been phenomenal in a positive way. So any women looking to join the industry who are considering it, I don't think there's a better time to join the industry than now. Okay. We've recently set up a women's business forum, and it's a support group, because when I joined the industry all that time ago, it was predominantly a man's industry, and it's still engineered for the men. However, I'm seeing that change as the months go by, and it was, okay, you're one of the guys, you're going to progress quicker than one of the girls. It was as simple as that. That's changing now, because we've got many more women who are very ambitious, but also they're extremely intelligent and knowledgeable, and they can stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the men now who are leading these industries. And you know what? Women bring a different dynamic, but it doesn't mean to say that that dynamic is wrong. And what I've got, and I'm very, very privileged to have this, I lead MPF with Erin Noon. Erin's the Sales and Ops Director. As I've said, I'm the National Relationship Director. So we bring a completely different dynamic, because we do co-leadership. And I've written an article on this recently. And you know what? It really, really works for us. It works in terms of that I know lots of CEOs. My partner's an ex-CEO, gave up the executive position when he was 50. And when I spoke to him about it, I said, right, why did you give it up? And he said, what happens is when you are the CEO, he said, everything stops with you, he said. And sometimes you need a sounding board, he said, and you can't guarantee that you're going to get that honest sounding board, because people don't want to disagree with you because you're the CEO. He said, so from my perspective, he said, it was quite lonely at times, but also a bit frustrating, because I would have my vision, my thought process, and that was the way that it was going to be. And we chat about this. And you know what? Nobody is right 100% of the time. There's development areas for everybody. It doesn't matter what position you are, or how long you've been in a company, or how long you've sat at the top table. Somebody can learn something from someone else all the time. And this is why we love the co-leadership. But also Erin is very, very, very supportive of females within the industry. He always has been. And I do a lot for the women, but I'm about inclusion for all, for everybody. Just treat people like human beings. Just be kind to them, listen to them. But in terms of the females, we've set this Women in Business Forum up, because when I came into the industry, there was nothing like that. And it was a really, really lonely place, especially if you had ambition. Because that ambition, it was burning in your belly. And you were thinking, why am I doing this? And he's doing that. And he's progressing quicker than me. That's what went through my mind anyway. And when I've spoken to a lot of women, they've experienced exactly the same. So as the world is changing, the industry's changing, and it's changing for the better. And one of the most touching things that's happened recently was we did this Women in Business Forum, and the younger girls who was in that room was going, oh, this is fantastic. This is just what we needed. And do you know what? They just needed to speak to a female voice of experience. And I'm not saying I'm the voice of experience. I'm not. I am not the finished article. Okay. But I've been in the industry quite some time longer than them. And they just wanted to hear from me and from other women as well, who had progressed and who had made good for themselves really in the industry. How did you do it? What happened when you came up against this? How did you address this? What was the conversation like around that? And do you know what? That bit of giving back and just giving those girls a boost and a bit more confidence, and knowing more than anything that they have now got a support network around them, because the men always have the support networks around them. And do you know what? That's good for the men. Don't want to emasculate any men, because we have got some fabulous men within this industry. And I've worked with some fabulous men, worked with some horrors on occasions, but the majority have been absolute fabulous men. But what we want the men to do is to work with the women and to work with everybody else, regardless of gender, sex, religion. Okay. Just accept people for what's up here and what's in here, because that's what matters. And we've kind of changed our culture within Master Private Finance, that we want the best version of you to turn up every day. That's what we want. If you want flexible working, we'll give you flexible working. If you want to work from home a couple of days, we'll give you work from home, because you're an adult. We're going to treat you like an adult. You know what your expectations are, so we're not going to micromanage you and crawl all over you. We've set it out very clearly, what we expect. There you go. You do it in the hours that suit you. And that's what we're about. And that's kind of, it gives everybody a bit of breathing space. It stops this, oh God, I've got to be in a certain time. My bus is 10 minutes late. What am I going to do? We don't want people arriving in work stressed out. Okay, be male or female. All right. But predominantly it sits with the women, because I heard a stat very recently that 1 in 9 people in the workforce is a carer. And of those 1 in 9, 75% of those are female. So that kind of caregiving experience tends to sit with the females. And there's a lot of unconscious bias around that as well, in terms of females not progressing. Well, they'll have to look after the kids. They'll have to look after elderly parents. Well, do you know what? Put policies in place where, whether you're male or female, that if that happens, that you support your employees. And you let them look after the children. You let them look after their aging parents. And I vowed, because when I started in this industry a long time ago, Rosalia, I had a young son, and I was the only person who had children. So I had sports days. I had parents' evenings. I needed to go and see school plays. And there was times where I thought, I'm going to have to set myself on fire to finish an hour earlier, just so I can do what I need to do with my family. And I vowed that if ever I had the privilege of managing or leading people, and it is a privilege, that I would never, ever, ever do that to anybody. Don't want them sat at a desk if they've got a sports day, they've got school play. I don't want them sat at the desk if there's an important appointment for somebody they love and the parents, things like that. Let's just embrace that these people have got a family, and our job and our family can operate in harmony as opposed to conflicting each other.
Oh, Alison, there's so much to unpack here. Beautiful, beautiful philosophy. Very hard to find. Where were you when I did a job? Anyway, that's another story. But anyway, I don't now. I have my own business because I guess when you can't find something, you build it, right? You build your own, you build it, right? You build that door. I was at a crossroads where I was made redundant. I did actually love my previous job, and I felt like I had that autonomy and everything. But I just ended up building my own. So this industry, absolutely allows you to be as creative as can be. I mean, look at this. I've got a podcast about women in the industry. I'm actually I'm just doing my favorite job, basically, that I've always wanted to do. So this industry does allow you to be creative. It does allow you to be flexible, and it's great if you can find an employer like Alison, or a business that has that kind of culture. Amazing. But there was something that you said in amongst that, which was about a forum. So I really just want to highlight that. What do you mean by forum? Where can that be found? What is it? Who can come?
We launched it, Rosalia, not last week, the week before. And it was born from a simple comment and an idea where I was with some ladies in the summer, and they was interested in the stuff that we was doing around diversity and inclusivity and the culture that we was creating within Master Private Finance. And we just got chatting, and a lot of these girls said, love your LinkedIn post, love the articles that you do. I'd done the odd video here and there, and they was like, it's just phenomenal. And I felt embarrassed because it was like adulation, and I thought, I'm not doing anything special here at all. I'm just being authentically me.
Yes.
And that's the big thing. For me, it's all about authenticity. Okay. Yeah. And it's all about helping people. And someone just said to me, do you know what? I would love to have an hour with you, or I'd love to have an hour with this particular lady or that particular lady within the industry. They could really help us. And we started talking about the support and the corroboration that men tend to have. And it's really, really strong knit within financial services. And it's been alluded to as the boys' clubs and things like that. And there's lots of favoritism. Well, do you know what? It is a support network. That's what it is. But women, they didn't have it, okay? Because they couldn't infiltrate these support networks because a lot of the biases that existed around women being women in banking and finance. So we thought, right, well, do you know what? Yeah, we're going to set up our own table.
Yes.
Let's see how this goes. All right. And as I said, Rosalia, it was just great. We talked about what it's like to be a woman in the industry. Okay. How not to take things to heart, really. How does it make you feel when you feel like you're not progressing at the same speed? So it wasn't a forum where, okay, right, well, we're going to talk about your cats and makeup and what you did at weekend. No, this is a proper business forum to support, to give confidence, to educate and steer and direct a lot of the younger women who've never had it. It's to bring women together because they don't get together like the men. And we actually spoke about it. I spoke about it on the day. I said, yes, it's a women's business forum now. Okay, we're going to get started off with the women. However, we need the men because we need men to come and work with us. We don't oppose any men whatsoever. We want men to work with us, but we also want men to see our point of view. So we don't need any mansplaining. Thank you very much, because we're clever women. We understand it, okay? But we need just to see it from our perspective as well, because do you know what? After speaking to them women, there are some really, really intelligent, savvy women in our industry.
And you're missing out on them because you're not speaking to
exactly.
them. Yeah,
exactly. You need to be inviting them. All right, yeah. So they will bring a different dynamic, but do you know what? That's a good thing.
Yes.
It's a really, really great thing, because what we're now looking at, and I see it all the time, and I talk about it all the time, is emotional intelligence.
Yes. Oh, love it.
More women have emotional intelligence than men. And that's not a dig at men. That's just the way that we've evolved. That is evolution for us. So if we can marry those two up, okay, with the emotional intelligence that the women can bring, which more often than not, the staff tend to gravitate towards, and the business strategies that men see and how you're going to get from A to B. If we can marry those two up together, do you know what? We've got to be onto a winner, because different personalities want different approaches within the team. Okay. Yeah. I'm not good for everybody. Erin wouldn't be good for everybody. But do you know what? Between us, when we talk about co-leadership and dual leadership, we've got the most of the things covered. But for those women, it's about the confidence. How can I do this? How can I break into that? What do we need to do? I feel like I perform, and I'm not getting any further. That's about having strong conversations and not letting someone say, well, you just need to prove this to me now, or you just need to prove that to me now. Okay. And another thing, a bee in my bonnet that I've got is gender pay gap. Salaries should be on every job advert.
Right. So before we get on to that, absolutely. Just to highlight a couple of points that you've just mentioned with regards to having those strong conversations, and also bringing men to the table as well. Like, yes, we need to create our own table, because sometimes, you know, in order to have that equality, they have a table, therefore we should have a table. But then the equality happens when we're all on the same table as well. It's not just to, you know, abolish all tables that anyone's ever created, but even the theme of this podcast, yes, it's the money honey. Yes, I'm going to be interviewing more women than men, but I absolutely will be having men on the show at some point. Like, for example, your co-director, everyone keeps telling me to speak to him and I need to do something. Yeah, absolutely will. There are a lot of male cheerleaders that cheer women on and that do so much for women. And I've had many male bosses in this industry, and they've got me to where I am today. You know, yes, there was a lot of tugging and pushing from me. If they're listening, they'll know that. They'll know I'm like a dog with a bone, like, no, you're too slow for me. I want to do it faster, you know, or I want to do this. So they gave me the platform and the steps that I needed to take. And all my clients are men. Like, the majority of my clients at Manuka Media are men. And we have the best time ever. Like, we have such a great relationship. So, but I will be bringing men to the show. Anyone that you can recommend would be great. But that's because the reason I've created a show just to highlight women is because something you mentioned, which I also believe in, is I don't think women are very good at self-promotion, talking about themselves and putting themselves out there. Whereas men I have worked with before, they were really quick to be like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh no, that was me. Oh yeah, by the way, it's me you need to thank. And I was like, but I did it too. Like, I also did it. And like, I should also speak up and say, but sometimes I just felt like, oh no, I don't want to boast. So I thought, why not create a safe platform, interview women, which inevitably means they have to talk about themselves, but just showing your face, your name, your voice is giving, you know, light, and, you know, it's highlighting who you are and what you do. So yeah, I think you're right. We need that balance at the table. I know it's getting better. But yeah, so let's talk about the gender pay gap then. What should we do about that? Like, how are you seeing it from your point of view? Why is there a gap?
I think there's a gap because women are seen as less of a commodity within the industry. We're not as valuable as the men. Let me tell you, we are extremely valuable
But
commodity.
why? Sorry, what is it about us? What do
I,
they
I
think
think it's
we're not
because
valuing?
I've spoken to a lot of people about this, Rosalie, and I alluded to it before. It's that unconscious bias where the women are going to go off, they're going to have children. Okay.
Right, let's talk about that. That's really important to me because I'm not pregnant. Everyone, you heard it here. I'm not. Obviously, I've just been married, and everyone's checking in on me, saying, "Oh, when are you going to have a baby? Are you going to have a baby? What are you going
Oh,
to do with your business? The business is just you. How are you going to handle that?" And I really want to be vulnerable and talk about this because actually, I see women out there like Sarah Tucker having 3 babies, running a phenomenal business, talking about it. You know, walking around with her lovely bump. And she's showing us that it can be done. You know, J-Lo shows us that it can be done. You can have kids, you can have as many boyfriends as you like, you can get married as many times as you like, you can have it all basically. But I still feel that there's and you might be able to give me some light on this, but I still feel like the minute I announce that I have a baby or that I'm pregnant, I feel like I'm going to put off a lot of people. They're going to think, oh, I don't know if I want to work with her. She's going to be like really busy with her baby, or she's not going to be as available, or maybe do you know what I mean? Is that true? Or is that just a fear that I have in my head?
I think from my past experience, it was true. However, nowadays I think it's getting better and better because let's not forget, Rosalia, without women having babies, the human race will not exist. We will have no baby boys to come into the industry. So it's something that we have that the men don't have. But from a business perspective, and I've sat in those meetings when I was younger, can't employ that person, she's going to go off and have babies. And I'm like, no, am I actually hearing this? And they've got to get over this. Well, you're of a certain age, you're going to have babies. So what if they're going to have babies? All right. This is a talented individual who we need within this business. So what if she goes off for some time to have a baby? That is down to the management team and the exec team to succession plan and get someone in to do that job while she's away. Okay. So it's again, it's ingrained. It's these biases that you see all the time. And what happens if the baby's ill? Then they won't come back to work. And it's all about me as the kind of leader of that business. It's all about what will happen to my business. Well, hang on a minute. What will happen to your business if this lady goes away, she has a babies and comes back and she's even more focused and you support her in having those babies? Do you know what? You're going to get even more back as opposed to putting the barriers up, having a closed mind and not embracing these women within the industry. It's all about open-mindedness. And I have a saying, and I always say, closed minds should come with closed mouths, or I wish that they did come with closed mouths. Because do you know what? The world we live in, it's such fast-paced. There's loads and loads of women out there who I think would love to get into financial services. And I've spoken to some of them who are like, oh no, it's very, very rigid and you can't do anything. It's very, very strict. I'm like, no, it's not. There's so many routes you can go down and there's a perception of the industry and we need to change that perception of the industry. And we'll only do it by everybody working together and showing what we can offer and that we are a welcoming industry to new people. Why is nobody pursuing this in schools? They're not. People are not interested. You don't get anybody saying,
I'm doing my bit.
You don't get anybody saying they want to go into financial services. That's part of our strategy for next year, into the schools. Okay, talking to people about what we can do and how it's a great time to get into the industry. But something else to say as well, you've got to be careful that your business doesn't stagnate if you don't change, because it will stagnate, because you will struggle to recruit and you'll struggle to recruit the right people. And then if you can recruit some people, you're going to struggle to retain them. The world's changed. You've got to change with it. All right.
Exactly.
You've got to be agile. Right. You've got to be fast paced. And you know what? You've got to embrace everybody. Give people a chance, because out there is some fabulous people who we don't even know about yet.
Yes.
And we need them within our industry.
Yeah, there's so many successful people or talented people in the shadows that
Yes.
are either capped in their job because they're not, some people do limit you to be able to progress, and then they're not really heard about, or they're just quite raw and fresh and they don't know where to go or who to turn to. And hopefully this platform will
And
give them,
that's it, who to turn to.
yeah,
Because
who to turn
I've
to.
heard so many horror stories from females about things that have happened to them and things that they've had to do to progress their career and how they've been overlooked. And I'm like, this cannot continue. And I've vowed to my daughter, she's my why. As long as I've got a breath in my body, if I can change anything for anybody, I will change it.
Yeah, exactly that. That is beautiful, Alison. And that's exactly why this podcast is right now, as we speak, it's not a money-making activity. It's not monetized, it's not sponsored. It's because I'm opening out a safe space for people to come to. Maybe they'll listen to you and think, actually, I should reach out to Alison or any of the other speakers that have been on the show. These are people that are supportive, open-minded, futuristic, really life-changing, that you can either listen to or reach out to and have a private conversation. I'm sure you'd welcome that, Alison.
Oh, anytime. Yeah.
Of
The amount
course.
of people who do reach out to me, who contact me after they've seen a post or they've met me somewhere or they speak to me, it's really, really humbling, really humbling.
Yes, it is. And that's exactly why we're here today. If you're listening to Alison and you're thinking, you know what, I am in the specialist world, or I'm not, I'm in somewhere completely different, and I actually have had this incident at work, or I want to progress and I want to get some advice, and just surround yourself with people like Alison. We can't change everybody, right? There will be some dinosaurs that will stay behind and that will stay stuck, but we need them to stay where they are, because if they can't, they're going to be dead weight. We can't carry them. If that's where they want to stay, leave them there. Just you move forward with the right people around you. And in this place, you'll be able to find them. You can find them on LinkedIn. Just ask, if there's even one person you trust in your current organization, just ask, what woman, what man would you turn to in this industry that would be really supportive? And I'm sure you'll get at least one name.
Yeah, definitely. And also, as well, for the people who are looking to join the industry, and especially the females, the Association of Mortgage Intermediaries, Amy, have launched a new website, Working in Mortgages. There's some fabulous stuff on there. There's some really chilled out, relaxed podcasts with some of the leaders saying about, right, how did you get here? What did you want to be? How did you get to where you were? Did you go to university? No. Did you go to college? Yes, I did. And it's just understanding that, do you know what? This is a huge, huge industry. And I'm sure that anybody looking to get into it, they can find the right space for them starting off. But yeah, if they had a look at the Working in Mortgages website through Association of Mortgage Intermediaries, there's lots of things on there.
Right. In the show notes, thank you, Alison. In the show notes, I'm going to put that just before I forget in the comments. If I can't find the link, please do share it with me.
I will do.
I'll put that in the show notes for anyone interested to listen to. Is there anything else that you want to share with? Actually, no, my question is going to be this instead. Is there anyone that you'd like to see on this show sharing their story, something amazing that they're doing? Is there someone that you think should come to the forefront and be like, you need to get on this show and talk about X, Y, Z? Is there someone in mind that you'd like to see?
Have you spoken to, I think you have, I would have said straight away, Maeve Ward, Beverly Loggia.
Yes. Away. Yeah. So Maeve Ward has already been on the show, recorded already. So Beverly is coming. Yes.
Okay. Have you spoken to Marie Grundy from West One?
No, but I know her.
Yeah, and Marie's been in the industry a long time, and she's an MD at West One. I think Marie would be really, really great person to speak to.
Yes,
you could
that
also
is a good shout.
try Melanie Spencer from Finova.
I know her too. Haven't asked her yet.
She's a great lady. And these are people who've got lots and lots of experience of who you can speak. So I could go on and on. I could give you a list.
No, I'm really No, the reason I ask you to publicly put their name out there into the universe is because I just want to, I want them to feel touched by hearing you say that. I'm sure if they're listening to this and they hear their name, they're like, oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, my name has just been said. So that's what I like to create that kind of that nice feeling that they've been nominated. But yeah, I will ask them and obviously say that it was you that recommended them.
Yeah.
What about your last thoughts? What would you share with closing comments, remarks of anyone listening to this, trying to navigate their presence, their place in the world when it comes to women in finance?
My closing thoughts would be, okay, as a woman in finance, the likelihood is you will have a fire in your belly to progress. There's a bit of ambition there. Don't let that fire get dampened at all, because you can progress, okay? Some days it's tough, okay? When I first started, it was really, really tough because you got overlooked for everything. I once got told I couldn't have a promotion because I didn't play golf. And that was the reason that I didn't get the promotion. And I was like, right, okay. Am I going to learn to play golf? No. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave to someone who appreciates me.
Gosh.
And that's what I did. I moved to a new company in a new department because I just felt that was wrong. But nowadays, that doesn't happen as much. Okay. People are waking up. So keep that fire in your belly burn. However, to do that, it is so, so important that you link in with people and that you have a mentor. Get yourself a mentor, all right? And it's not a mentor who's going to hold your hand and do this, this, and this. It's a mentor who you can speak to and say, I need help with this. Did you find that? How, like Rosalia said, how did you navigate that? What do you think I should do in this instance? Never come across this before. I don't know what to do. Somebody said this to me. These are my expectations. How am I going to reach them because I feel like they're miles away? And it's all those kinds of little things, okay? Surround yourself with positive, passionate, supportive people.
I think that is the best advice I have ever had. I'm listening to you receiving that advice. Sometimes as a fiery person, as an ambitious person, sometimes your sparkle does dwindle a little bit because maybe someone said something, you think it hasn't affected you, but it actually does. So that is phenomenal advice. If anyone wants to connect with Alison, in the show notes, there'll be links to her LinkedIn. I think that's the only place, Alison. Is there anywhere else we can find you, or do you just prefer LinkedIn?
No, everything I do it via LinkedIn. I don't go on Facebook. We do have an Instagram page for Master Private Finance.
Okay, so we could follow. So if brokers are listening to this and they need a packager with color and life and ambitious and fun, authenticity. I like, you say authentically me. I like to say unapologetically me.
Yes, both together.
Both. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, please connect with Alison. You can learn so much from her, but also just be inspired and connect. And Alison also is a learner. She's just like she said on the show, you're not you don't confess to know everything and be the finished article, so to speak. So collaboration over competition any day is what I'm getting from this. So thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, Alison, your wise words, your passion. Like, it's definitely reignited me. So I'm sure the listeners will also get so much benefit from this as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Rosalia. And I hope it inspires somebody and helps somebody.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And guys, if you have been listening, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show so that you can hear from more listeners, from more speakers, coming soon. We've got some phenomenal speakers coming up. Even Alison, the one that Alison mentioned, so I'll be inviting them along. But more importantly, if you feel like you have something to say, then come and say it here. Come and share your voice. We're listening. We love you. We want to embrace you. So please come and be on the show if you want to. Just reach out. And thank you again, Alison. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.